Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Hall. Wanted to welcome you to Digital Imaging and Photography, Chapter 19. Um, I'm actually currently in Charleston, South Carolina with my family on vacation. We're at the Kiowa Beach Resort and enjoying ourselves, but I wanted to take a moment just to do this presentation for you and talk a little bit about digital imaging and photography out of chapter 19 of our text. Um, so to kind of start things off, let's talk a little bit about why we study digital imaging and photography. Digital photography is by far the most popular and ubiquitous visual medium in the world, and it continues to grow. This is very evident with all of the digital photos that we see all over the internet, social media, and we see a lot of people taking up the art of photography simply because they can afford to get into the market at an inexpensive price, whereas 20 years ago you would have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get a camera that could do the quality of photography that we're seeing on a mass scale today. Digital photography also offers a way to place our world in context, or as a way for us to record our lives. Um, we're all about sharing our lives with one another, whether it be through poem, art, um, photography. And I know today, especially for a lot of families, it's a great way to be able to share our lives with one another without having to actually be there. Um, of course, face-to-face interaction is always better, but the increase in technology has allowed us to connect with one another in ways that we probably never imagined we would be able to. Um, and then thirdly, new imaging software and photography apps make it easier to be creative and make it easier to share our creations with each other. This can be different camera applications, whether it be on our phones or our computers, editing software. Um, Instagram is one of them. There's a number of these different applications that we have access to that allow us not only to take photos, but to edit them, to make them exactly how we want them in the matter of 2 to 3 minutes, per photo. So this is one reason why. Actually, this is three reasons why it's important that we study digital imaging and photography, because it plays such a major role in our everyday life. To kind of look back a little bit, George Orwell's classic 1984 book is a book that dealt with the loss of civil liberties based on mass surveillance techniques. In a way, this book was actually prophetic in many ways. It's funny because I actually, before I read uh, George Orwell's 1984 book, about a month ago, I had a coworker actually recommend the book to me before I even knew that I would be talking about it in this course. As I was reading the book, it just was really amazing to see the things that have actually come to pass that he spoke about in his book. Um, in today's digital world, our entire life is on display for the whole world to see. We've seen this in the news, whether it be celebrities um, or just through our own personal lives through Facebook, and then also the Snowden scandal with leaking information about the surveillance that the government is stepping over boundaries when it comes to people's privacy. Of course, there's multiple angles from the political ramifications and privacy laws as far as what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. Also, security for our country, for just there's so many different aspects when it comes to this. So you'd have to do quite a bit of research to actually get an accurate depiction of where things really are at. But it is of concern because of things like Facebook and different social media platforms that our lives essentially are out there um, for anyone to see. And then number three, most photography has made its way um, to mobile phones as opposed to 10 years ago when they were two separate things. We've got, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when the first actual digital camera came out, to multiple different digital cameras on the mass market, varying in price, size, megapixels, to where now today we have our iPhones, we have our Samsungs. We actually have our entire life condensed into one phone, to where we can take a photo, we can edit it, and we can post it and share it to all of our friends. We can text it, all within just the flip of a finger on our cell phones, using different applications and so forth. So this is pretty amazing to see the transformation that's happened in such a short period of time. So one thing that we're up against is the issue of the digital format of our pictures. I remember when I first got out of high school, we used to have those little wind-up toy cameras, and we just, go take a bunch of pictures, go down to Walmart and take it to the processing center, and they would print our photos. And then we'd go through the photos and pick out which ones we liked and throw away the ones we didn't like and keep the ones we did and put them into a photo album. Well, that's great because we actually have a hard copy of the photo that you could take with you if there's a fire or run or, just in storage, whatever it might be. Well, today, most of the photos that we have are in digital format. An estimated 29.2 billion photos were actually captured and saved in 2012. However, only 21.2 billion, or about 73%, were printed. And this is great for the sense of organizational purposes, not having to, use paper and ink and all the different things that come with printing a picture. However, that is a lot of photographs of people's lives, newborns, children's, weddings, first day of school, whatever the event, whatever the life circumstance might be that is in digital format, which presents the problem of not only someone taking your photo or hacking your computer or having access to it that you don't want to have access to it. It presents the problem of losing that data if your hard drive crashes or for whatever reason, and you can lose all of your life essentially if it's not backed up properly. Secondly, everything has become so digitized that we must have a backup of a backup or stored on iCloud to feel secure about our images and the safety of our images. And not to mention just the hardware that it takes to store all of these photos is astronomical when it comes to what it used to be with just having photo albums. Another problem is people tend to save, because it's in digital format, people tend to save more photos more often. Even though they're not worthy of being saved, they might think, I might want it later. And so it takes up more data, more storage, more space. But in the end, smartphones have made essentially this process so easy that anyone wants to do it. And so we're not limited to age in today's society as to who can and who will take these photos. So yeah, smartphones have definitely made taking, saving, sharing, editing photos so easy that it's become addicting. We tend to see some of our friends on Facebook taking and sharing some really probably not very important photos, and a lot of them tend to be selfies. I know that there's been a lot of controversy about selfie photos.